Welcome to Open Mic. Welcome to Open Mic. I'm Mr. Douglas. Shaun White is a man often associated with the Winter Olympics. The gold medal winning snowboarder is once again competing in the games in Russia, and while he is still at the top of his game, it's another field where the man is showing his talents. 2 years ago, White helped form the band Bad Things with Jared Palmer, Anthony Sanudo, Lena Zawadi, and vocalist Davis LeDuke. Davis joins us today to talk about the band's recently released self-titled Warner Brothers debut.
So what has been the highlight for you so far as having it released a couple weeks ago and now it's out there for people?
It's mostly been the preparation for getting ready to play live, and actually holding the physical CD was another plus for me. But yeah, I just know we're really excited. Me personally, I'm really excited to get out and play the music for people because I think people will really like it.
It's got kind of a Phantom Planet, Not a Surf kind of vibe to it for me. What sort of influences brought you all together to create this sound?
I think we definitely have pulled from all sorts of different areas. I grew up listening to the Beach Boys and Marvin Gaye and Etta James. And then once I started discovering my own music, I really got into punk rock music. So those are my influences personally. And then with Jared, our bassist, he has a great ear for production and harmonies because he worked. I believe when he was younger, he was in a choir of some sort. So he really learned different weird, eerie sort of harmony type stuff, and then. It's funny because Anthony actually does surf, so he's definitely brought that sort of style of music to the table. And then the other two, Lena's just brought an insane sense of rhythm and melody, and Shaun just brings charisma and energy to the band when it comes to that sort of rock and roll sound. Yeah, we're extremely lucky because we've taken a lot of influences and put them into one thing, which I think is rare to do so quickly. I've only been in the band for 2 years, and it happened so quick. So yeah.
We'll talk about that a little bit because the band is relatively new. Describe, I guess, the past 8 to 10 months on this ride.
Past 8 to 10 months has been crazy, because, basically we were preparing to release a record, and we were supposed to release it in October, but we decided that with Shaun gone it would be better for us to release the album maybe a month before the Olympics or a month after, and we were so anxious. And the label was so anxious that we decided to just release it in January. And leading up to that, it's been emotional because we put so much work into the band, the live show, and relationships in the band. It's just it's an extension of the family. So. It's been a pretty amazing journey thus far.
You guys were pretty quickly swooped up by Warner. What was that like as far as getting this group of 5 people together and suddenly you're on a major label for the debut?
Honestly, man, I think it has a lot to do with just hard work and dedication to what we love. And I think what Warner saw was that Shaun didn't just want Shaun didn't look at this like a hobby project. He looked at it like, this is what I want to do, and I love playing music. And we all share the same common interest and goal. Because, I mean, for me, there's nothing else I can do. I play music. That's all I do. I don't really know how to do anything else. And I think the same goes for the others in the band, with the exception of Lena's insane intelligence. So she has that going for her. But I don't know, man. I think what they saw was the fact that like we really believed in this band, and we really were serious about it.
Well, take me back and talk about how you and Jared met up with Shaun, Lena, and Anthony to really form this project.
Well, Shaun, Lena, and Anthony all grew up in the same area. So they're all from like Carlsbad, whatever. I don't really know San Diego well, but they're all from the same area in San Diego. And they sort of started, playing together, and they went through like a bunch of different members over the span of, I think, like 3 or 4 years. And then Shaun moved out to LA and met Jared. And they hit it off pretty immediately. And then, I was the last puzzle piece. And, I don't know. Honestly, like, once I got in the room with everyone, I was skeptical because, hobby project, celebrity in a band. But once I got in the room with everyone in the band, the chemistry was undeniable, and after that, like, you couldn't tell me that Shaun was a snowboarder. You know what I mean? Like, I looked at him as, like, Shaun. I didn't look at him like, oh, Shaun, the, 2-time gold-winning pro snowboarder. So we just got, I don't know, it was pretty insane how quick we all sort of worked together, and it was just comfortable and perfect.
How were you approached? I mean, what was that conversation like?
I have a mutual friend who basically was just like, hey man, like I have a band that's looking for a singer, and it just so happens that Shaun White's in the band, and they want to, they're looking for a singer, and I, went in and met up with them. That was basically it.
If you're just joining us, we're talking to Davis LeDuke, vocalist for the band Bad Things.
Talk about that, the initial writing sessions as far as the chemistry went. Like, who were the primary songwriters hashing things out?
Well, we are 100% collaborative. What we do is we get together in a room and we write songs. There's really no other way we do it. I mean, there are randomly times where someone will come in with, like, a chorus written or a verse written, and then we build off that, but that's pretty rare. We usually just write songs in the room together.
Going off what you were talking about earlier, with the whole skepticism of having a celebrity, it is rare but not unheard of for someone really famous outside of music to be in a band, and then people start to get curious. How did you guys approach that aspect of the band as far as preparing for the expected questions about Shaun being in the mix?
We just don't really give a, honestly. It's just sort of like, I don't know. It's hard for us to see it that way because Shaun is Shaun to us. I mean, obviously there are certain things that happen when we're hanging out with him. Like, people will come up to him and he has admirers and whatnot. But I don't know. I mean, I guess I think what it was is that people expected it to be a certain way, and then meaning like people in our camp expected it to be like. I guess a certain way. I don't know exactly what way that is, but we just decided, who cares? Shaun is who he is, and, if people don't like it, people don't like it, and if people like it, that's awesome. I think the ultimate thing is that, we believe in the music, and that's what it is. That's it. personally, I don't think it hurts us either way. I think people are going to say what they're going to say, and they're going to think what they think, but they're really not going to know until they hear the music. But yeah, I know that there are some things that sort of conceal it, and then there are other things where it's like, we have videos with him in it, we have interviews with me and him, and I don't think we're a very well-known band, but like the people who do know who we are know that he's in it, which is, I've gotten different kinds of reactions. I've had people come up to me and be like, "Oh, like, why are you in a band with Flying Tomato?" And I'm just sort of like, "Well, like what? Okay." I don't really care, It's like I don't really have a concern for that kind of stuff. I'm more concerned with like the people who support us rather than the people who have negative things to say, because they're always going to be around.
So you guys never had that moment where you thought, well, we're going to have to prove ourselves to people to get past the fact that we have a, celebrity in the band?
Oh, absolutely. But I think you have to prove yourself in music either way. You have to prove that you're bringing something new to the table, or that you have something that, is either timeless or shows signs of progression. Because we don't want to be one of those bands that comes out with one single or one album and then falls off the face of the earth. We want this to last. This is our life. This isn't, like I said, this just isn't some hobby project. But yeah, we definitely have to prove ourselves as a band in general, and that if anything, we have to prove ourselves to tenfold because he's in the band. And people, I'm sure people will think, well, oh, they're privileged, or oh, they headlined Lollapalooza because Shaun's in the band, or oh, they, which I don't really consider that a headline. I consider that playing one of the bigger stages, and which was awesome and so much fun. But like, it wasn't because Shaun's in the band. It's because we were there and we showed up, and we were willing to play for little kids. We were willing to play at the kids stage, and we were excited to be there. So, Perry saw that and was like, you know what, like, a band dropped out, and we want to see what you got. And I think that proved a little bit.
Kind of getting ready for a tour of sorts. Are you guys going to be heading out on a proper tour over the spring and summer?
I believe so. I don't know any of the details, but that's the plan.
How was that for you, as far as you just got an album out and you're kind of sitting in idle, hoping that you got a tour, but you're not quite sure yet? Are you fidgety, or are you? How are you dealing with that?
I'm absolutely fidgety, man. I'm sitting around, sort of waiting on the go ahead. And it's funny because when you play music and you're expected to tour and do all these things, you do all these things. You kind of have to put your life on hold, which is fine because, like I keep saying, this is what I want to do. But you get comfortable in certain situations. Like I'm a homebody, so I'm comfortable at home reading and playing music and hanging out with my friends. But when I tour and I'm gone for 2 weeks or longer, like I get comfortable doing that, and then I come home and I have no idea what to do with myself. So I'm comfortable right now, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, the anticipation is killing me. It's pretty unreal.
Being in a new band and releasing a new album in 2014 is extremely challenging. And you're on a major label, which in the 80s and 90s meant gold, but today it doesn't matter as much because it's so difficult, because there aren't going to be record sales. So how do you approach the business in terms of balancing that whole thing of record sales, touring, merchandise, and then there's the new aspect of just getting people to hear the album, whether it be on Pandora, Xbox Music, iTunes, whatever that avenue.
Right. Personally, I think it's just doing things differently. It's doing new things or taking things that have been done and putting some sort of new twist on them. Because it seems like, there's like this YouTube generation where you put out videos and people are really interested in getting to know the band through videos and through the internet, which we've sort of held back on just because we're waiting for like that initial, hey, okay, go ahead, like full steam ahead, rather than like, okay, let's creep up. But in regards to record sales, it's almost like a record is more of a novelty rather than and I guess I'm talking about a physical copy.
Right.
Like, I love buying records to have them, to hold them, and then to listen to them in a different format. But yeah, I mean, it's 2014 and it's completely different. I mean, everything is digital now and everything is on the internet, and it's because, I mean, I didn't grow up with that. Like, I remember when the Windows computers was like a rainbow and the computer was huge and you needed floppy disks to load files in and out.
Thanks to Davis LeDuke, vocalist for the band Bad Things, for joining us today. Join us next Tuesday at 1:30 for Open Mic, our weekly program featuring local and not-so-local artists. If you would like to be a guest on Open Mic, send us an email at kgpr@msugf.edu, or you may call us at 268-3739. Thank you for listening and supporting Montana Public Radio, 89.9 FM, KGPR, Great Falls.